Recording in
Just let me know when everybody's in, Nicole, and I'll start the meeting.
Yep, everyone's in.
All right. All right, it's June 21st at 6:30. I'd like to open the select board meeting. The first order of business here is let's pledge allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America.
And to the republic for which it stands, a nation under God,
Under God,
indivisible,
indivisible,
liberty and justice
justice
for all.
for all. Okay, next order of business is our meeting with the finance committee about the budget.
I
So
don't see
Nicole, do
anybody
you
here
want? Are they here?
I don't see anybody here. I don't know who I don't know.
All right, well, if we're not ready for that, do we want to do the eight ARPA money? Sorry.
Yeah. So I'll bring up the balance. Let me share my screen.
Lost you.
Okay, here's the ARPA balance. I went through everything as best that I could. We've sent, Lori DeLolio was keeping track of this and is gone, and that's the end of that. So I've gone back through all of the approvals and added them in here. I'm not positive what was actually spent, but this was allocated. So this is what I see as the balance. Let me just, in your packet, there are 3 different invoices for contracts for the vehicles. One is for two are for police, so sideways. 17,569.41 and 36,565. 13 for the second, and the last for highway is 928,732. These are for all of the leases. I'm gonna let everybody else in just a second. Here comes one of the finance anyway. So that's a total of $63,421.86 for the leases. And we have snow and ice. And I verified this earlier with our financial software. Lori is correct with, I should have done these totals, sorry. They are in Chris's tabs, but $154,313.83. That's snow and ice.
And we decided on ARPA for that?
Yes, I can. Well, that's not, you are deciding on that.
Right.
Let me just minimize this and. I can bring up the model here.
Yeah, I just brought that up.
Do you see this now, all the tabs at the bottom? Or are you still seeing my
No, we're
first?
still seeing the upper one.
Okay.
I see you.
Yeah. I'll get there.
Yeah, that's up.
Nice.
Snow and ice is gonna come from ARPA. Oh my gosh. I'd like to see, if you don't mind, Rob, if Chris would like to jump on and kind of start talking about this.
I kind of want to go over the ARPA numbers.
Okay,
Yeah,
as long,
I just,
are you,
what's our total with ARPA is what I'm wondering, because it says snow and ice use ARPA funds, but what would you say it was again?
it's like 387 something.
Or do you mean Chris is going to explain ARPA now?
no,
Is that what you're
I don't, no, I don't think so. We have a little bit of a difference in the balance from ARPA, but it's really not that much, and there's still gonna be leftovers, so it's not
Yeah.
really that important, like
So
to
the-
go over this.
So
Um,
the spreadsheet that was up earlier is 389,307 for a balance.
All right, this is not easy to do this, okay. So this is what I have, these are all the approvals that I have, the most recent as of 5/8. And that we were gonna use ARPA for the leases and for snow and ice. Not sure if there's anything else here.
So do you not have a total for what that number is? For the between the leases and snow and ice?
Yes, 217,
Okay.
735, 69.
17.
217,
Seven-
735.
735, 69.
Yeah, that's the snow and ice plus the leases.
Now I can't remember if there was anything else.
Now, what's the highway truck
Yeah,
that's
there's other.
on
Yeah.
for 112?
The highway truck was going to be, Marty doesn't have the quote yet. He said it's going to not to exceed 120. He's waiting for the newest quote. That should be here by Friday.
That puts us around 340.
337, 735, 69.
344, 422 is the number we had.
Say again, please.
344, 422.
So what's the
Wasn't-
difference? Because I just added everything up and it's 337, 735.
112 for the highway was what we
Yep.
were given. 63, 422 for operating lease buyouts.
So that number's a
Yeah.
little bit different, but close enough.
Well,
Yeah.
he rounded up to the next
Yeah.
dollar.
160 was snow and ice that we had.
Oh, snow and ice is 154, 313, 83.
Okay.
That's
And
the
then we
difference.
had, the chief had requested some additional funds to clean up some prior issues that were non-operational. So we had $9,000 going there.
What tab is that, Chris?
Other revenue sources.
So that leaves us how much in ARPA?
No. So what are the issues that were from fire?
I forget what the details were. It was a while ago that we talked to him about that, but that's what he was requesting.
I almost feel like that's the reserve transfer, but, or it should have been. I feel like the ARPA funding, we've been funding more.
Capital?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm just my 2 cents.
So with all of that, what does it leave us in ARPA?
About 63,000.
Yeah, this says 54.
Yeah. Where are you, am I not sharing the right screen? Do you not see other resources and other free cash?
I do.
Yeah, it's up there. Paul.
Okay,
Right, so the net balance of ARPA is 54,573 after funding.
Yeah, because I think you messed up your number here for ARPA funds. You didn't adjust it. Because you got 398, 995. And then you told us it's 389.
Yeah,
What's the number, Nicole? 389 what?
307.28.
this is what I calculated today. I have to figure out, because at this moment, we don't have access to the federal ARPA. So I will make sure this is accurate tomorrow. Because Lori was reporting for us, so I don't have access. I asked her today if she has specific Hardwick access or if I have to request my own, and I haven't heard back.
Well, should we just leave the highway truck out of this at this point and put through the snow and ice, not, since we don't know the firm number of the balance? That gives us some room and we can deal with the truck at a later date. It doesn't have to be dealt with today.
Right. Especially without an updated quote. We could do snow and ice, and we could do the leases.
Right, just take that number, make sure we at least clear our budget and get everything ready for next year's. Because that's really what's in the way for what we're gonna do with the budget coming at
Right.
us.
Yep, agreed.
So,
Okay.
oh, sorry.
No, that's okay. Go ahead.
So then the total for the leases is 63,400. I just round up, the whole budget's rounded up, and that's typical accounting. So 63,422, that would be your total.
So then we handle snow and ice at 154,314.
Yes.
154, 314.
Yep, that's the final number.
Okay. And you're gonna do fire department?
That's non-operational cleanup prior year issues.
Does that mean this year that we're closing out, or does it mean last year?
It's not prior year. I think it's all about the whole labor and just not, I don't know if we're not budgeting properly or what's happening, but they go over.
Yeah. I don't know, like I said, I mean, I see that as a reserve issue, but if this is what FinCom. Normally the reserve would go through FinCom, so.
It wasn't a reserve, Kelly. It was something, in addition, he wanted in his budget that we decided to pull out. It's non-operational. It's not gonna be, it's non-recurring.
But if he went over his budget from this prior year,
We talked to him back in January, so it wasn't a current budget issue.
well, that now I guess I'm curious what it is then. I don't,
Would it be more calls, kind of a more labor than he had planned?
No, it wasn't labor. I'm trying to remember what the exact details, but it was more. He had some non-operational issues to clean up that he's been trying to do in his budget, and so the additional 9 was what he needed to kind of clean those pieces up. And we said, all right, well, there's a good use of ARPA funds in this case. It's non-operational. It's non-budget. It's not current year budget, so that's why we put it in there, and we didn't run it through the budget.
Good.
Is anybody from fire on? The chief or anybody? We have a meeting before the annual meeting still scheduled, correct? All right.
Yeah.
It's up to you two. I say we put the leases through, let's put the snow and ice through. Find out what this $9,000 is. It's probably something that can be easily cleared up by the chief. But just let them talk about it so we can move on. We can just.
You want me to call him? I think he's at the
Ellie,
station.
Eric, anything?
I'll call.
yeah, I'm more curious again.
Want me to call? I'm gonna call him.
I can do that.
I mean, if you guys want to vote on it, that's fine too. I'm just curious.
Yeah, I agree with you. What
Hello. So we're going over the budget. We're in a selectmen's meeting. We're looking at ARPA funds. There's a $9,000 item that FinCom seemed to say that they were okay with, but we don't know what it's for. Do you remember? It said to clean up prior issues, non-operational. Okay. All right. We'll see if, what? No, I got a couple of selectmen, FinCom, we're doing a Zoom meeting, so you can't pull out a reason for that. Okay. Yeah, call me back or try to come up with it at worst before the town meeting. that morning. Okay? Okay, all right, see you, bye. He doesn't remember.
Okay. Well, I'm happy to make a motion for snow and ice and the leases if you're looking for that, Rob.
That would be excellent.
I would make a motion that we fund snow and ice at $154,314 out of ARPA funds. I would also make a motion that we fund the leases as read by Nicole previously in the amount of $63,422 through ARPA funds.
I'll second
A
it.
second.
I'll second it.
Any more discussion? All right, in that case, I'll do a roll call vote since we're online. Kelly Kemp,
Yes.
Eric Volheim,
Yes,
Rob Ruggles, yes. All right, so that passes. All right, well, let's get to the budget then. We're done with ARPA. I assume, Nicole, there's nothing I'm missing.
Nope.
Okay, thank you. All right, let's move on to the budget with the Finance Committee. Is
Okay,
there,
I'm gonna pull it up right now. And then I'm gonna hand over host to you, okay? Chris,
yes.
to share my screen. Oh, if I share my screen, that's not gonna work. Do you happen to have it up, Chris?
Yeah,
If
I
I-
can share it. I can share it.
If I share my screen, then it's not gonna stay while you are host.
Yep.
So the one that's in our format?
Yep.
Okay.
All right, can you see? Which one are you? Can you see the budget or is what's coming up? I can't, it doesn't say.
There's a ton of windows.
All
What
right,
you have to do is share screen. You have to choose the one that you want to
Yeah.
share, which
Yeah.
would be FY24 budget working workbook.
yeah. I think it's this one. There you go.
Yep.
Okay. All right, so Nicole and I have worked pretty close on basically getting both the Board of Selectmen or the original requests and the FinCom aligned. We've got all the raises are in at whatever the contractual rates were, or at 2%. There's not a lot to talk about here. Any questions? We got there's really nothing out of the ordinary. Youth, we increased the number of hours and the rate based on their recommendation. We were in agreement with that. Everything else is pretty much level funded with raises.
And we put the fair, yep, okay, I see the fair detail, so that's it, been included.
Yeah, what'd you say, Kelly?
The fair, the detail for the fair under PD,
Yeah, we're not in
Okay.
agreement with that.
with that got added in.
Yeah, that's an area that we need to discuss because we're not in favor of it.
Why not?
Okay,
Fair's been in existence for 200+ years without any details, and all of a sudden this year it shows up. You're setting a precedent that I think is gonna not be good for the town going forward. It's not a town fair, it's not a town expense, and the Hardwick Fair should be paying for it like every other activity that's non-town related in town. So and the fair's been going on for hundreds of years without it. So why all of a sudden this year?
Well, their point was that the police are charging them more and more. They're having a hard time getting over the plague. So they're looking for money. And we thought it'd be a good way to go to support the fair. It's part of the town folklore. So it is kind of ours. I guess it could be an argument with no end.
Yeah, you can look at it both ways. I just think we're setting a precedent we don't want to do.
Well, when the Legion was going, this was a constant argument that we would fund the Legion to some amount, $900, $1,000.
Yeah,
We
we
do
did that
so
every
with
year.
the Gilbertville Library as well. So they're not part of the town. So
Yeah.
precedents have been set anyway.
it goes in front of the voters. The FinCom wants to bring it up. I completely respect that and understand that, and let the voters decide at this point, I think. But I think we should put it in there so the voters can decide on it if they want to remove it.
I would agree with you, Rob. It's not our decision, it's the town's decision. We just think it's financially prudent not to include it, so that's gonna be our position.
I completely understand.
Okay.
But like I said, we put it in there for the town more or less to decide, so.
Yeah, I totally agree with you on that.
All right, so basically besides that $3,000, everything's the same as what we talked about already, and we have no really any changes in funding or anything, correct?
Correct.
Anybody else got any questions on the budget?
don't-
Yeah.
Mr. Chairman, it's Ryan, the clerk.
Go ahead,
Are
Ron.
you going to go over the motions?
Yes, that's what I wanted to do next. I just want to make sure we're like good with
Okay.
the budget, and then we'll start just going over the motions, make sure everybody's got the right directive for the motions. Make sure we got everything correct. All right, so if you're all set, do you mind if we go over the motion now and kind of
Absolutely.
have FinCom here with you and have you guys stay, because there's a couple things that I want to say were budget. We just wanted to make sure you guys were in line with what was going on.
Absolutely.
I'll share my screen in just a second.
All right. So Article 1, did we figure out we're gonna table this, correct?
Yeah, this is
Or do
where,
we need-
usually the snow and ice comes in, right? For this year's, but we took care of that, so now you can just table it.
So Article 2 is sum of money. So we got retained earnings. Renewables, 14,000, free cash. These are all bills. I'm sorry, let me see if I can find the warrant article so I can explain what that is and not just, so we have the motions.
Yeah, they're in the,
Sorry, folks.
oh, yeah, you mean the actual,
Yeah, just so I can say, I think this is this year's, or the first one was, this is prior year, sorry, correct? Article 2.
yes.
Yeah,
Yeah, so FY 22 below the free cash, it says of the previous FY 22. And
Let's read up.
I've always had a problem with East National Water. Well, I can't say always, this is my second time, but I had a problem with them last year and we thought we did it all. I have all the backup. I'm not sure. I can send it to you. I'm not sure that you wanted it at town meeting or what happened. I don't remember. In EDP renewables, we were not receiving any of the invoices at all. So, so we got even this year, but we've cleaned that up and these are last year. And more communications were 2 bills that I didn't get it either, that were minor. One was for the police and one was for Ryan. They called with just some issues with their telephone.
Okay.
And that's why it says, so Hardwick Center Water District, because that's where East National Water comes from. All boards is more communications and EDP renewables. And then WPCF is their EDP renewables.
All right, so the first one, the retained earnings. All right,
it's gonna come out of retained earnings in the amount of 14,039, and then go to the account for,
yeah,
Will, yeah, wastewater
okay.
expense. Yep.
solution, okay.
Yeah.
And then,
just making sure I'm reading this right. That's
yeah,
all.
that's, I was a little confused at first, but now, so then we're using free cash for Hardwick Center water expense and all boards expense.
Exactly.
Okay, but the bills are what's listed above.
Yes.
Okay, all right, that makes sense.
Okay, so if I can jump in here. So the bills are on the top line, EDP renewables, those 4, is that correct?
That's correct.
Right.
All right, so we need to swap that around. So they are going to come, so the motion's gonna be to transfer the sums of money from WPCF expense, HCW expense, all
Okay.
board expense.
No, it's,
to those.
Ryan, it's not coming from those expenses. So EDP renewables is being paid out of retained earnings for waste pollution expense. And then for more, it's coming out of free cash. And that's an all boards expense.
But the way that it's listed, Kelly, it's stating that we
Right.
have,
It needs to be
know what I'm saying?
rephrased, but it's not coming out of. I just want you
So
to
in other words,
understand,
yeah, so we don't need to list EDP renewables and all that. We need to say 14,039 from retained
Out of
earnings.
retained earnings, correct,
Then,
correct,
and then tally up those 3 items for free cash.
correct.
That will be the 2 funding sources to those 3 there. Okay, at the
Right.
bottom. All right.
Okay,
Right.
I'll fix that.
Yeah, so it just has to be a little bit, yeah, cleaned up.
Yep, not so detailed. I see.
Yeah, Nicole, we just have to list retained earnings for that amount and then tally up the 3 on the free cash, and that will take care of it.
Got it.
All right. So we're all good there now?
Yep.
Okay. All right, so Article 3 is to authorize to acquire permanent easement, and that's something, okay, that's not a money article. So can you scroll that screen or something?
And we have the sketch now.
Yes, we
Yeah.
do. We have
Did I
to
say-
update it. I
okay,
gave it to
yeah.
Brian.
Okay,
And you have the actual easement in your packet. That you could always do Saturday too.
All right, I think that's the last item on our agenda, isn't it? To kind of discuss that easement thing.
Oh, okay.
thought that was another one.
Oh, I don't know what I just did.
Well, just moving everything around. I can't keep up. Article 4 is to accept the, what was it?
Annual
Oh,
The annual report, the 2022 annual report.
Yep.
So
Uh,
just to comment on that, Mr. Chairman, if I can.
Yep, go ahead,
Julie
Brian.
Marquette. So, I volunteered to jump in on this. Julie Marquette is working on this with me now because there's some formatting issues, and this is in essence making the sausage, but next year we really got to do a concerted effort to explain to everybody that these reports have to come in a certain way. We don't need fancy formatting. We just need information, and then we can put it into a report that's readable, printable for the citizenry that we can get out much sooner than the annual town meeting. The treasurer's report, the accountant's report, I mean, they look nothing like what they used to, and I'm not saying that's anybody's fault. I think what it is we just need to have a better grip on how these reports are created, because what was received is just, it doesn't work. And it's not fair to the residents that actually do read these reports quite thoroughly and enjoy digesting them. So I think what we need to do is come February, March of next year, really make certain that we've checked off everybody. Right now, recycling, Hardwick Historical Commission, and the wiring inspector are not in the current format. Recycling said that they had sent it. I confirmed with Nicole she hadn't received anything. She was going to drop off a hard copy. I'll try and scan it and get it into the report. The wiring inspector, he said he sent it. I told him to please resend it. And then Emily doesn't have email. So what the plan is to put a hyperlink, hopefully by tomorrow, after you folks kind of review it. I mean, this isn't some open meeting law thing, but I'm going to send you the draft of it, and I'm going to ask each of you to review it and make certain that it's okay. It's basically a compilation of all the reports that have been gathered from all the different parties. The last item, your report, I've reached out to Nicole just to finalize and make certain that everything's okay, because the idea is that I at least want to let everybody know via listserv, Facebook, etc., that, hey, here's a link to the report. Go check it out. At least you'll have a couple days to see what's out there. I don't have the time to print them off like I did the last 2 years with the manual hole puncher. It's not feasible with given my schedule and what's been going on. But in fairness to the residents, they're entitled to this report a lot sooner than they've been getting it over the past few years. And they're also entitled to get it in a format that is easily shareable. In the past, and I'm sorry if I'm running on here, but we had a lot of citizen participation because people received these reports. They looked at them and they'd be like, hey, this isn't right, or this is right, or I want to get involved. And this is the shareholder report. You guys are the CEO and the citizens of the shareholders. And this is the opportunity to say, all right, what's been going on over the past fiscal year? What have you been doing? And we need to present that to these people. So if it boils down to having to mail these things to households again, I'm going to advocate for that, because people might say, well, we shouldn't be spending $2,000 or $3,000. Well, we're spending $18,000 a year on a police vehicle. You know what? Informed citizenry makes for better government. And that is what I'm advocating in the long run. To summarize, I apologize for going off on a tangent. we should hopefully have everything put together tomorrow for you to review, to authorize to have it go out. And then what I plan on doing is doing a sign up if people, how many people want to have the report, and either I could print them manually in my office, or we can send it off to a printer through all boards expense or the town report line item. I don't even know if it's still there anymore, and make them available. But this is something personally, and as town clerk, that kind of bothers me. This needs to be done a lot sooner than it is. And, everything's fine now, but let's make a concerted effort for next year to make certain that we get this done much sooner than later.
Understood, Ryan. Thank you. All right. Is there maybe there's just a note or something? I know you probably sent it out. No, but maybe just if you guys can remind us to discuss it at like one of the select board meetings. I don't ever think we brought it up at any point this year. But maybe we can, as a board, try to push the departments to make sure they get that information to you.
Absolutely. I will certainly make sure. It should be coming out of the selectman's office, and I did have it all. But I will certainly make sure that it's done before town meeting next year for sure. I won't let any other department handle it.
Yeah, this isn't a criticism of any. It's just there's a lot that's going on right now, and things happen. All that I don't mind doing this. I've done it before, and the reason why I volunteered was because I know what needs to be done, and I have a vested interest. So I just want to make certain that we take steps so that when we move forward, that it becomes like clockwork. It's like, okay, January, February, boom, boom, this is what we're doing, and then we're done with it.
Yeah, no, understood. And we appreciate the fact that you kind of took the ball and ran with this, because obviously with everything going on, so I appreciate it.
No, thank you. I'm not looking, but thank you.
All right, I'm gonna move on to Article 5. To authorize the treasurer to approve one-time anticipated revenue. Oh, this is our borrowing for
For the treasurer.
revenue. Yeah, for the treasurer. It's not a real money article, but it is. The revolving fund accounts, which we have a whole sheet of.
Yeah.
Then this 7 is the Board of Health revolving, the new one. Okay, 8 is the appropriation for the HVAC system at Quabbin Middle School. I know the FinCom had some thoughts on that, so I don't know what you guys were thinking or what you kind of decided.
Keenan, can you,
Chris, did you?
can you jump in on this? Because you had some good thoughts on this one.
The thought was we were going to disapprove it, and we're going to use capital stabilization each year to pay the approximately 18,000 a year for the 5 years.
Can you see the debt repayment?
They got it for 10 years.
Pay in full. 5 years. 7 years. 10 years.
Oh,
So we would do the 5 years.
Yeah, it tends to make sense. It's not a lot of money each year.
And what if it gets approved? Like what if this, I'm thinking like the school budget always gets approved.
Well,
And
that's
it
the school
changes.
budget. That's the school budget. But if we explain this the proper way,
Okay,
we don't want a debt exclusion just for
I don't disagree, but you know how,
$61,000. It makes no sense.
right,
There's a whole much extra paperwork and a lot of.
I don't
keeping-
disagree.
No, well, no, that's what needs to be explained, why we want to disapprove it, and we'll pay it but we're gonna pay it over 5 years.
Oh, that sounds good to me.
So Keenan, is finance going to make the motion on that?
I'll be glad to stand up and explain the whole thing.
All right, and again, if it must be, I move to disapprove. Approval is not necessary. We do not have to approve it. But if we make a motion to approve and it's voted down, that is not a disapproval. So,
I will make
The
a
motion-
motion to disapprove.
okay, thank you.
Can we make sure we make a note on that? So,
Yeah, maybe take approve right out of the motion. Yeah,
Okay,
Exactly, and that was why I had on there, need to discuss. So, yeah,
Yeah.
just strike that
Yeah.
off and put disapprove.
thank you, guys. Okay. Article 9 is appoint an assessor to the assessing board appointing an assessor.
yeah, that's just.
Okay.
That's standard every year.
Yeah, yeah. Article 10 is transfer $1,275 from the sale of lots fund account to cemetery expense account.
Can we take out
Article
the
11.
extra? Can we take out the extra zeros on that? So it doesn't look
Yes,
like
that's, yeah.
a
that's my
million
fault.
or when you,
Yeah.
when you look at it quick.
Yeah. Uh, Article 11 is 1,275 to perpetual care. Article 12, okay, this is transfer 50,000 from free cash to reserve fund. We kind of discussed that. I think we were questioning where that money was coming from the other last meeting, were we not?
Yeah, to fund,
Uh,
yeah. We didn't know if it was
Yeah.
free from free cash. Correct.
Correct.
Yeah.
Article,
oh, sorry, did you want to look
13.
at the free cash or you just want to, are you good with that?
Why don't we look at it at the end? Because then I think Chris spelled it all. Is this Chris's document that he spelled it all out with?
Yes.
All right. Article 13 is basically chapter 90 money for 350,000.
Sorry.
Yeah. Article 14, did we on the sewer, all right, so this is the sewer budget for 933,000. Do we know what our finance rates or that interest rate is or payment? Do we ever get a clarification on that?
Well, we haven't gone out to bid yet, which so USDA has not authorized to pay that amount, so it's in the budget. Do you want to see it? It's in the. I
Yes,
have the
please.
sewer budget.
It's in the sewer budget.
Yep,
Yeah. Yeah, just anyone on right now that's looking at it, I just want to make sure they understand what kind of we're looking at. To bring it up, Nicole, or no?
yeah, I'm trying to bring it up right now. I have too many windows open.
Yeah. I'm just, well, you're getting that. I'll just, Article 15 is the budget that we already discussed.
Mhm.
All right.
Rob, so
Yeah.
is that number there? Does that include the 3,000 or does it not include the 3,000 on the police detail?
It does.
Um,
I just was
It does
looking at,
include.
yep.
All right, so technically, Finance Committee is not going to recommend approval of that. So I think that morning, we could certainly discuss as to whether or not what option needs to go. So at the end of the day, that includes the 3,000. Technically, their recommendation would be to not recommend, and then perhaps one of them would make a motion to subtract the 3,000. And then if it passes, it would be taken out. If it doesn't, it would stay in, and then we would go to the main motion. And just for those that haven't been part of it, the way that I run things as moderator, when it comes to our budget, we will do the amount listed based upon a certain column. If people have questions or discussions or amendments on each respective line item, I allow it. It's only happened a couple times in the past. So if the finance feels that strongly about it, they will have to state that they don't recommend and that they would offer an amendment to that specific line item, and then we would vote upon it. So I just want to make sure that everybody's on the same page regarding that.
Yeah, I think we've done this before with different things over the years, so, but.
Can I make a recommendation? What if we pay this out of ARPA and keep it out of the operating budget? Because it's just gonna show up there next year again, and all we're doing is adding to budgets that we're trying to get a handle on.
That's how we started this. That was my
We
suggestion.
can't, yeah.
Why can't you?
Legally, we cannot. We've already asked KP Law of that opinion.
Is that because it's going to a private organization?
Correct. So we can't donate our ARPA funds to them, but we can pay a bill once it's
Well,
incurred.
that's my bone of contention anyway, is we're trying to fund a private organization which we should not do with people's tax money.
Well, like the Gilbertville Library and the Legion. those were things were brought up before.
You look at, that's Memorial Day, and those are town owned properties for the Memorial Day that we spend the money on. The library is used by town citizens.
And the Hardwick Affair is the oldest fair that people come back every
You know
year
what?
for.
You know what? Raise their prices so they can pay their bills.
All right, I
no
think we
different
just,
We said
No
we-
different than the
Yep.
water system in the center of Hardwick. Every
Keenan,
taxpayer is
Keenan,
bearing the
Keenan,
brunt of
hold
that.
on. Everybody hold their horses. Let's the voters deal with this. I think we're just putting out there for the voters. If they vote it down, that's their choice. I
Just a
understand
point
both
of
sides of this. I absolutely do. So,
Chairman Ruggles, just as a point of clarification regarding the American Legion, that was a Massachusetts statute that allowed for municipalities to donate monies to the American Legions. Now, originally, it was only supposed to be for 5 years, and Henry Gainley, the past veterans officer, had brought up the fact that the town had been doing it basically for, 60, 70 plus years. But for the record, the money that was given to the American Legion was established by a Massachusetts statute. That wasn't something similar to what the Hardwick Fair situation is.
all right. All right, before I go back to the sewer budget, do we have anybody else want to comment? I'll give one more chance for someone to comment, and then I want to move on if there is one. No, okay. I'm gonna move on to the sewer now. I move back to it. The number we're talking about is,
Rob, I have to
Ouch.
apologize. There was two FY24 budgets and I was looking at the wrong one because Scott adjusted some of the expenses, and so it went down a little bit. So it went down to 928, 678, 81 instead of the 933. So I'll
Alright.
certainly change that on the motion.
all right, so we put the numbers, the big number we're talking about in the interest on sewer debt.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that we can hopefully remove, but maybe we
Yeah.
have a special town meeting or something. I'm not sure, but we could remove it if USDA approves us paying the ban off once the plants come back. Bid out and the prices come back.
Right.
yeah,
I mean, I think we have to carry it to
Yeah,
cover ourselves.
I agree. It's just, I mean, I think it adds about another $100 to an EDU, if not, maybe a little more, so. It's actually a little more. It's disappointing. All right. Anyone else with questions on the sewer budget? No, all right. Nicole, can you bring me back
Yes.
to that
Yep.
screen, please? Motion screen.
Can you see?
Yep.
Okay.
There we go. All right, so we just kind of, I think we went over the budget issue we have. So I think we're good there. We don't need to keep reliving that. Article 16.
I'm sorry,
Transfer.
I do have one question. Can we just open it up to
Yep.
make sure that I have the right number there?
I did, Nicole. It is,
Okay,
from what I
Okay.
can see on my phone, because now I've got 3 different things open.
okay, thank you.
It does look like the right.
Okay, wanted to make sure I was choosing the right one. So,
Yeah.
okay, great.
Total raise and appropriate line all the way over is that number matches.
Okay, thank you.
Are you all set now?
Yes, thanks.
Okay. Article 16, the town transfer 105,000 from free cash to stabilization. Do we have any questions on that, anybody? No? Okay. Article 7, transfer 70,000 from free cash to capital stabilization fund. Is there a balance already in capital stabilization? Does anybody know?
Like $4,000.
Well, yeah, it's really small.
So
If you remember, we tried putting it in last year, but we forgot to put it on here, so it all went into stabilization.
All right, and Article 18. Do you want to run through that again, Ryan?
Certainly, Rob. I'm receptive. So I'm speaking as town clerk. I'm receptive to, any numerical date, upon further review with 18 and 19, I personally would like to see, and as town clerk, I'd like to see the first Saturday in May for the election and the first Saturday in in June for the town meeting. Regarding the election, once that is set, it can't be moved. Regarding town meeting, the Board of Selectmen always has the right to vote to postpone that. So if we did in fact adopt it to the first Saturday in June and something came up where we had to push it out, the Board of Selectmen still reserves the right to postpone it and pick a date at its choosing. But regarding the election, it needs to be not during the week when the kids are there. And Saturday seems to work. It's worked in the past with our special election. I've spoken with other clerks. It's worked well. It's still within the board's right to set the hours, and depending upon if there are races or not, you can have the polls open for as little as 4 hours, at a minimum, no later than noon, and it can't close later than 8 o'clock. So given all that information, I think the first Saturday in May would be acceptable. So that's what I'm requesting. If someone from the board wants to make the motion, or I can find someone else to make the motion, just please let me know what your pleasure is.
I feel like I'm okay with moving it to like the first Saturday
yeah,
of
I'm good with the
the
first.
May.
I would agree.
Gives me 3
Okay,
more
so
weeks,
what I will
so.
do. Yeah, exactly. And the main thing is it gets us to where the kids aren't in the school. I'm in communication
Yeah.
with the school committee
Yeah.
to talk about when the state elect, we've got a special primary coming up the day after Columbus Day and a state election on November 7th for Angobi's seat. And, you know, I'll work with the school committee regarding not holding school on those days, but my hands are tied regarding when elections are held and where we can have them, because there physically is no other place that in Hardwick that we can hold an election. There isn't. So I appreciate that. I'll certainly revise the motions to list it as first, if that's what you're in agreement with.
Yeah, Eric, you good with that?
Yep, and I'll make the motion if you want.
Sure.
Thank you, Your Honor. I will make note of that. I only say that because we're both justices of the peace. That's no other reason.
Secret, it was a secret.
All right, as far as the annual town meeting, so basically you're saying if we just set it for the first weekend of June.
Yep.
The
We can
select
tweak
board
that.
still has the option to move it.
That is correct.
All right. So I am fine with that also, because we never have had a May meeting that I can remember.
And I agree.
So do you want to put it for the first Saturday in June?
Yeah, there's nothing else that weekend, correct?
Memorial Day.
Whatever.
Well, Memorial Day is the last Monday in May, so it will run to that.
Probably won't conflict.
No,
No.
I think it's early enough in the, season that people may go away for that weekend, but probably not the week.
Yeah, you'd actually be going away the weekend before if.
Right, yeah.
All right,
I
I'll
think the
amend,
first-
I'll amend that as
Yeah.
well.
All right. Anyway, any more discussion on that? Are we good? Okay. And I move to town to adopt the article as printed in the annual town warrant. Am I missing something? Oh, that's the
Selectmen
motion.
to
What
board.
is,
Brian wrote that.
yeah, what's Article 20 again?
Change from selectmen to
it's-
select board.
It's,
Oh, yeah.
all right. So we're in pretty good shape, I would say. The only thing we should probably do before the Saturday meeting, as far as any of this stuff is concerned, is the fire department stuff. Maybe the highway truck if we want, but if there's any changes, we just should, I know Nicole's been working hard to make sure the numbers are correct, but just make sure that ARPA number is correct. I don't want to
Yeah.
overboard on that. That would
And
not be good for the town.
And what's the balance in free cash before all the, do you have that, Nicole?
Yeah, it's 207063, I think.
So we've gone over that just from moving money to reserve stabilization and capital stabilization. We're at 225, and Article 2 also uses free cash. So that doesn't jive.
Yeah.
Oh, let me bring it up. Sorry, it's the wrong one.
for 230,000.
Yeah, we're at 232,851.43.
Are you all seeing the line item budget?
Yep, that's the budget.
Okay. Chris, are you on?
Yeah,
Can you go through this because you understand it better than I do? So maybe we have to take one of those motions and say that it's coming from raise and appropriate.
yeah, that would make sense, because you only got two,
Yeah,
207,087 in free cash, so.
so I have to
I
change
could-
it from free cash.
We could cut how much is going to the reserve fund by 25,000.
Right.
You want to be careful with your levy limit. Unfortunately, Jennifer's not here to confirm,
yeah,
and
right.
unfortunately, yeah, so
We're 9969.
Well, yeah, but it's always good to have a little
Right.
meat left, a little bit of meat left on this bone.
So we gotta cut something by, call it 26,000. One of the.
I say we
funds.
change the reserve fund. That's the easiest way out of that. We've never funded 100 and something thousand to reserve
Well, they were looking for 50.
initially, yeah. And I understand putting more in there if we have it, but if we don't have it,
Do you mean stabilization, Rob? Because they were putting 100 in stabilization and 50 into the reserve.
Into reserve and 70 into capital.
all right, then stabilization, sorry, I'm trying to find the information while I'm talking out my butt, I
Yeah,
guess.
we talked to Jennifer today about the levy. We have room there. We've got, we feel we're fine with where things are coming from, so we're not in favor of touching stabilization. And we're putting extra money into reserve account because we're level funding budgets this year. So it gives us a little more control in terms of if people are going over, we have the ability to be able to justify that overage. If we take that out, yes, we'll have more free cash for next year, but we have less room if people are going over.
Well, yeah, I'm sorry, I misspoke. I was thinking it's 105,000 going into stabilization, but we don't, if we take 25 from there, it's still giving you 50,000 for the reserve fund.
Yeah, we have to build our stabilization account.
But we're building it on debt at this point. We don't have the free cash.
Right.
So we got
Take
$25,000.
Take 15 out of stabilization and take 10 out of capital stabilization.
Okay with me.
Yeah, it doesn't really matter to me either. I just want to make sure the numbers balance, because
Yeah, it's gotta be 10 and 16.
That's
Or
fine. That's
however
fine.
you- Okay,
That's-
well, it's 25,764, so if you round.
But what about all of our article? Oh, you know what?
That'll leave you your money for your articles, doesn't it?
Yeah, because I thought you left me 18,000 for prior year bills, right, Chris?
Yeah,
And we're using 8.
yeah, I got extra money there. So we've got,
can you pull up this, whatever you're talking about for the way you're what your calculations are so we can understand what you're,
Yep, just one sec.
That gives us $20,000 cushion. And raise and appropriate.
Oops. I don't know where it is.
Let me share my screen, please.
Okay.
All right. So we put almost $10,000 in levy limit cushion. Nicole and I talked about that today. We reduced the articles of prior year bills to 8,000. That gives us $20,000. This 10,000 plus this $9,900 in levy limit cushion.
yeah, I'm not talking about the levy limit. I'm talking about the free cash.
What comes out of it?
Well, you have additional funds in raise and appropriate to fund the articles and to fund the articles. So, and the difference in stabilization.
I'm personally, I don't think it's worth cutting it that close. If we're
Then
just
we'll-
moving
We'll take,
I'll
take $5,000 out of capital. And that gives you a $25,000 delta.
I don't think that's a good idea.
No,
You're taking your free cash, you're bringing everything right to the bone. And if anything goes wrong,
You got 25,000,
And-
you needed 25, we got 25.
but you're going, half your numbers are off of estimates. Assumed, you know, there's a lot of assumption in the budget.
So what size cushion do you want?
But can I just back up here a little bit?
Yeah.
The bottom line is we can't take $225,000 out of free cash. It's not there. We only have 207,
We're,
87.
we're down to well, I just got you back 25. I just got you back $25,000. That's what you're looking for.
If we make a motion to take it out of free cash on those articles, and it's more than what we have in free cash, that's the issue.
Yeah,
I understand, I understand, but we have
we
room in
can't do
raise
it.
and appropriate.
Then that's gotta be where the article state it's coming from.
Yeah.
Can I ask a question of you,
Yeah.
Chris?
Mhm.
Why do you not, we have another, like usually fall meeting. So why don't we just take the money from free cash, just reduce the money that you're putting to your, between stabilization and capital stabilization. And then if there's any additional free cash left, we can revisit putting money into those accounts at another meeting.
That makes perfect sense, Rob. I didn't realize that you had a fall town meeting. So yeah, we can definitely do that.
So let's.
And then we're not,
Let's,
go ahead.
let's do the numbers the way I said, take them out of those two line items.
Would you say
then-
10 out of
Yes,
reserve, Keenan?
no, 10
Or-
out of the capital account,
And,
capital stabilization,
and then the 16 out of and 16 out of stabilization.
Yes. Because I just have a feeling where we have cut the budget to the bone on most expenses. I'd be shocked if we don't use up the 50 by the end of the year, because, you know, we're using a portion of it just for the Ann Goby, that special election to replace her.
Yeah.
You know, so it needs to, we basically want to keep it there to have a cushion moving through the year.
So Chris,
Well,
when,
I think we're all perfectly fine with, you know, having 50,000 in reserve and, you know, that we get it. I just feel like we shouldn't be trying to raise and appropriate to some of these things if we're that close.
Yeah,
I
no,
mean-
but this will bring us in line now, so we're good.
we do,
Yep, absolutely.
so that brings us to 207, and there was what, 207, 870.
Yes,
So 87.
$87. Let's
So
just
put
forget about that.
$87 back in one of those, because you do have to use it all up, otherwise you lose it.
No, you don't. Absolutely not. I definitely looked into that because
Okay.
I'm not positive.
It rolls
Okay.
over to
Stays
the
in your
next
free
year.
cash.
Okay, all right,
Yeah,
We
it
were
just
told-
rolls over to the next year.
as long as we know that, because in prior
I
years,
can-
we've been told otherwise.
I know, and when Jen said that to me, I was like, no way, you don't lose it. And so I found out through the state.
Yeah.
Okay, so Article 16 is going to be 89,000 and Article 17 will be 60,000. Is that correct?
Correct.
That's correct. And again, if we feel like we have a lot of free cash, which I really doubt we come up with, we can discuss doing additional stuff at a later time.
I do think it's good that we're able to fund these accounts this year, period. So
I would
think
agree
it's
with
a
you.
Step in the right direction for sure. So.
Yep.
Thank you, FinCom.
Yes, thank you, guys.
Well, this
Yeah.
will this leaves us roughly $46,000 cushion for what's coming in and what's going out.
It's fine,
Okay.
because if we don't use it up, it'll turn into free cash for next year.
And I've been told our values are going up a lot by Jen, so. I'm in a meeting. It's okay, you can come through.
As long as people pay their taxes. All right. So we're pretty good now. Free cash is all set. I think we got all the articles, all the motions all set. Anyone got any additional questions on it?
What time do you
Eric,
want
you
to
feel
meet on
pretty comfortable
Saturday?
what we're looking at?
I believe there's a meeting for both FinCom and the Select Board at 8:30, isn't there?
Yeah, there
Yes.
is.
So if we find out something different, we can always
Change it then.
change, right. But I prefer leaving here tonight, making sure that we at least, with the information we have, we're doing the correct thing.
Agreed.
All right, sorry, all
The
right,
easement.
let me try to move down the agenda if we got any more stuff. Finance Committee, are you guys good?
We're all set. You all set, Chris?
All set. Yep. Thank you, everybody. Appreciate all the
Thank you.
all the
Thank
work
you.
back and forth.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Nicole, for all the hard work.
Yeah, thank you, Chris, for all of your hard work and for finding a better way or a different and a good way to do this.
Oh, glad to be part of it. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you all.
All right, so let's just go over that easement agreement for the Mass Trail. We all got the I'm trying to bring it up. Nicole, can you bring up that sketch?
Um,
Do you have
Yes.
it available?
yeah, I just have to bring the packet up.
And this is not money, this is just giving an easement to who?
No money at all. It's, I don't know if I can. No. This is, so we, the town, can have the walking trail down by Hardwick House of Pizza. And when the railroad abandoned, they, this parcel got some of the land, so you'll see it's really, really tiny. And they're getting a stockade fence, so they're happy, no money was exchanged. They already signed it. They're good. And now the town will be able to use it. This was through conservation. They got a grant, and so now this is going up near, it's about a half a mile.
Good.
Becky worked really hard on this. I can't.
Excellent.
Oh, wait, can I? There we go. Can you see that?
Yes, that's better. Thank you.
It's on my other screen, so what's happening here? Yeah, so it's a really tiny area. It should be done by next week.
Yeah, Becky had come into my office earlier today and said she'd be available for the questions, and basically Nicole had given me the final plan, and then once it's adopted by town meeting, the surveyors will, put on there adopted by town meeting, record, etc. So just echoing what Nicole said, Becky's been the point person on this, and it's really just the town accepting that small portion to allow the trail to, be unimpeded.
I'm good with it. I think it's helpful to have the sketch. Are we gonna have that available for the meeting, Ryan?
I can certainly I'll make copies available. I've got it on 11 by 17. You really can't see that much at that
Yeah.
level, but
In
you
case
can
people
see
are
the shaded
questioning
areas.
it, yeah.
Yeah, basically we could almost say, as you drive by and you look to the right as you're going across from the old VFW. But yes,
Right.
the sketch will be there in case anybody has any questions.
Perfect.
We don't have any way to project anything at the school, correct?
I could, but it's a matter of, is it necessary?
Well, and it's,
Yeah.
I think it's really hard to see when it's light. I
That's,
think we
I
ran
forgot
into
about
an
that.
issue.
Yeah,
It's very
Yeah,
hard to see up on the
no.
screen.
yeah. I remember
and
that now
I don't-
because of the lightning. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, and
All
it's,
right.
and it's not making it seem less important, but it's not like the town is giving up thousands of
Anything,
acres.
yeah.
We
No.
are receiving a benefit. We're getting an easement from
Right.
property owners to allow for this trail, so it's a benefit to us.
And if Becky's.
I
willing
was
to
actually,
speak, I think that helps.
I was more thinking for like the budget and stuff, but no,
Well,
that's fine.
Rob, I'll make certain between Nicole and Christopher that what I receive is what's actually, what's being proposed, because when I was moderator and Paula was clerk, I always made certain that the record reflected that everybody had received the budget based upon color, et cetera. So I will make certain that there are printouts of the budget for everybody to have, so that when we're going through that, they're able to see. And if I'm able to confirm tomorrow that the numbers are what they are, I'll have Julie put it up on the web, and I'll share it, throughout whatever social media we can, so that people will be able to see it ahead of time. That's, typically what we do. So people aren't going to be blindsided when they're sitting there voting. They will have all of that budgetary information in front of them.
Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. So, does anything else from the select board?
I'm good.
You guys good? Nobody has a question, right? Out in the, nobody really involved. So basically Saturday morning, 8:30, we'll meet at the school.
Mhm.
Go over kind of hopefully just a quick, just make sure nothing's changed. We don't have to. And then 9 o'clock's the meeting. Be out by 9:05 and enjoy our weekend.
9:30.
Good idea.
9:30, all right.
I'm counting
We'll
on
talk about
9:30,
something.
Ryan. That's,
Me too, Kelly.
Uh,
There aren't any
Yeah.
$700 items, so it could go quick.
well,
Yeah,
yeah,
I mean,
the budget might get a little, but it is what it is. We'll put it out to the voters.
yeah. And then honestly, it's really just one issue, and I would hope that people can just agree to disagree and just vote on it. And
Yeah.
and Ryan's always pretty good at moving those things along when they get hung up.
Oh, yeah.
So,
Yep.
all righty. Do I maybe have any motions from the?
I make a motion to adjourn.
Whoa, I'll
Do I-
second it.
do I s- Okay, all those in favor? Kelly Kemp,
Yes.
Eric Wolheim,
Yes.
Rob Ruggles, yes. Okay, guys, you all have a good night. Thank you for
Thank
coming.
You too.
See you
Bye, Bob.
soon.